Yellow. In a previous video, I addressed the crowd that feels that they should just ban everything when it comes to firearms. However, in this video, I'd like to address those who would like to see no regulation, period. You know them. The everyone needs a machine gun and bazooka crowd. Now, why do I feel there needs to be regulation to begin with? Well, firearms are inherently a dangerous tool, just like a car is, and you regulate your car, right? You need a license, you need your insurance. Cars must meet safety and emissions quality tests, and to most people, that is not an infringement upon their right to drive, if you even consider it a right at all. Most places require you to get a handgun permit. Most places require some sort of permit for concealed carry of your handgun. And to the average person, that's not a violation of people's rights either. Cars are incredibly dangerous, so they need to be regulated to help curb unsafe activity. So I also feel that firearms need to be regulated to help curb unsafe activity, such as firearms licensing, which require a annual or some sort of set timeline in which you have to have it renewed, also requiring safe handling and maybe even insurance. Although the insurance thing is a bit of a stretch for me. I believe the same when it comes to requiring insurance for cars as well, as that can make it prohibitively expensive in order for the average person to be able to get behind the wheel. So I can understand not requiring the requirement of firearms insurance. However, the requirement of some sort of firearms permitting, on the other hand, I feel is quite reasonable, as so long as the requirements to obtain that permitting is not prohibitively restrictive to the average person to be able to acquire these firearms if they're of fit health and stable mind. And requiring that permitting to be renewed either biannually, annually, or after a set period of time, like with your normal licenses, you need to drive a car. I don't see how it's inherently infringing upon the rights of an individual to be able to defend themselves through the purchase of these firearms. As to age restrictions, well, if you can be drafted at 18, if they bring back the draft, I don't see how people can ask for someone not to be able to buy firearms till they're 21 years or older, when it is a right protected under the Constitution, and they can be asked to go fight for their country at the age of 18. If they should be allowed to fight for their country at 18, why can't they be allowed to be able to defend themselves through legally purchased firearms? That I will never truly understand. Other than through an ideological standpoint where you feel people shouldn't be able to access anything particularly effective at defending themselves. If criminals or an armed insurgent is able to access semi-automatic firearms, then the average person, within reason, should be able to access them as well. However, due to their destructive potential, I do believe they need to be regulated, such as requiring permitting, if not full-on training. If not just in simple proficiency and safety, you could also include actual defense training as a requirement to access these more powerful firearms. If I have to rely upon a random stranger for my defense in the event of emergency, I would at least like to know in the back of my mind that person likely has some sort of training or general knowledge that currently I don't know if they might have or not. Might just be some random stranger who picked up an AR at the local store and only took it out to the range once. If my criminal assailing me has any sort of training, I know at the end of the day I'm still up the creek without a paddle. Or worse, the person trying to save me may end up making the problem worse. The criminal doesn't even need training, he just needs plenty of experience, and That's all it would take, and I'd once again be up the creek without a paddle. Now, that's all for now, and I'd like to hear what you have to say in the comments section below. And if you agree with me, great. If you don't, well, I'd like to know why. See you around.